Oh,
where are we?
Is that the rock, the Dome of the Rock?
It's Palestine.
Palestine, nice.
I'm in Palestine? Oh, I don't know that's... And I forgot my apron. I'm in Palestine? Why am I in Palestine? I don't have the right garb on.
No, we're in China.
Now we're in China?
we're
I don't want to be in China
We're
either.
traveling the world.
Where's my hot
You're the
cabana
best,
boy,
Eddie.
Eddie? That's what I really want.
A hot cabana boy?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
No. All that says is mosquitoes.
Oh, look at that. That's interesting.
Is that our new shop?
No.
Let's get going.
All right.
Let's get
Welcome to Shenanigans with Brent and Becky.
Woo.
Woo! Yay! It's been a long day. If you saw the pre-show show, you'll see that we have half the floor laid in our new shop, and that's what I spent all day doing, was laying floor. And I realized that quilting and sewing has made me a soft man, and now
He can't stand up.
yeah, it's like I shouldn't feel this old. So yeah, so
He had to do
the energy
physical
level.
work. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was awful. I mean.
Oh, I know.
My knees are probably all blistered up, and I'm gonna wake up tomorrow morning. My back will
You're
hurt.
going to be so sore. You're going to
Yeah.
walk like a robot tomorrow.
Yeah, it's gonna be awful. And when they dig up my carcass, in 1,000 years from now, they're gonna be
Like that
like, "This
woman
person
with
must have suffered from strenuous physical labor."
That hoarder with her mummified body.
But anyway, so that's good evening. That's the kind of day we're having. As far as shop news, not a whole lot because we've been busy. I've been busy next door trying to get stuff going. We did have some fabric come in, so I thought we would just do a quick overview of the stuff that came in last week. We did do a couple box openings. If you catch us on Facebook,
I did.
And so this came in.
Was it pretty?
Yeah, these are some more of a basic. These are more of a kind of a more traditional color. There's a whole. I want to say we have like.
Who makes that?
This is made by, it's Abbey Theater by Blank Quilting. This one is, like I said, it was just some more kind of traditional blenders. We brought in a collection of it that they had. So, kind of reminiscent of like the old Thimbleberries days.
Yeah, it's country looking.
Yeah. A little bit different from most of the craziness that we get. So that came in. I want to say we have 10 bolts of it.
Country looking.
This is the other thing that came in. This may look familiar to some of you. We had this in a couple weeks ago. Oh God, about a month ago. We sold out of a couple of the bolts really fast. So when I reordered, I actually reordered some of the other prints just because we sold out so quick and everybody really liked it. And I was like, well, we'll get some more
Those
prints.
would look great with a pattern that has like a big block.
Yeah.
So you can really enjoy the.
Yeah, it's a fun kind of good
print.
Australian.
Yeah.
It's got koala bears and.
Nice big block.
So there's that. We got that in a couple different. And then we also got. Everybody always wants batiks,
Yeah.
and Bonnie talked me into buying a collection from. It's the Williams Garden. So we have 19 bolts that came in. Most of them are kind of these purpley yellows. You can just get an idea what the collection looks like.
Tell them what's fun about boutiques.
Nothing's fun about batiks. I don't know what
Yes.
you're talking about.
No. There's a perk to buying a boutique.
What's the perk?
There's no wrong side.
That's what makes them to be a pain in the butt.
No, that's what makes them so fun to work with.
Yeah, have you ever
Especially if you're doing paper piecing.
But if you're doing
There's no wrong side.
There's no wrong side, but when you're doing your binding and you don't remember which side is which.
It doesn't matter. There's no wrong side.
Yeah, but if you're doing a binding and you forget which side is which and you put your seams on the wrong side,
well,
it gets.
if you do it my way, there aren't any seams to forget.
But anyway, that's what's new and exciting.
How much are those boutiques? Because they usually run more money too.
Yeah, we actually had to go up to $10.95. We're slowly going up on price. I hate to do
Well,
it.
boutiques are more money to
Yeah,
begin
but
with.
it really bothers me because 10.95 does not look nearly as clean as 9.95.
You gotta make some money.
I know.
Brent.
So the boutiques are up to $10.95, and it really bothers me when I print the labels up,
I
put it on
think they're
there.
up to $14.95 and up in other stores. A boutique.
Are you trying to tell me I need to charge you more for fabric?
I'm just letting you know that don't feel bad about charging.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not.
$10.95
I don't feel bad about
boutiques.
charging for it. It's the aesthetic of what $10.95 looks like on the sticker versus $9.95.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know. People used
once
to
I
pay
cross
more.
that threshold, though, we're just gonna bump it up to $19.95. Why not? That looks better, right?
I love a good boutique.
But yeah, so the boutiques are going to be $10.95. I believe the other ones are all going to be $9.95 with $7.50 flat
Back to
rate shipping.
Palestine.
Yay! Back to Palestine. What's wrong with Palestine?
Nothing.
They-
Nothing's wrong with any place.
But is it
Okay.
wait? Hold on a second. Is it Palestine or is that the Dome of the Rock?
I looked up Palestine.
And that's what came up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Did you know that Israel?
I'm
is
sorry I
like-
brought that back up.
No, but okay. Did you know that like Israel is not any bigger than like the state of New
She
Hampshire?
doesn't want to leave her house.
Like you
Yeah,
can, you
I don't know.
You
I
can
don't wanna
traverse
leave
the
my house.
entire
You're lucky I
length
come
of
here.
Israel in like 4 hours. It's crazy how tiny Israel is,
Yeah.
and for all the trouble that it causes the world.
Yeah. Well.
And not, I'm not taking a political stance one way or the other.
Then
It's just
shut
funny.
up. Then
all
just
the
shut
all the
up.
news that comes, all the news that comes out of there and how tiny it is just amazes me. Is all I was saying.
It's crazy. It's
Nuts.
crazy. All right.
Craziness.
Poop, 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 poop. Are you done? Because now you're making silly faces.
Yeah,
at
I'm making
yourself.
silly
That
'cause I'm
usually
done.
you are. Okay, good.
Yay! Okay, that's it for shop news.
Did you say anything about the dream machine?
Oh, wait, I forgot.
But you need to write. You need a big board like
It's
this.
a long day, but yes. So we have a couple Dream Machines in that came in on trade, and I've actually got a couple more that are going to be coming in later. Well, probably later this month, maybe the first part of May. So if you're looking for a Dream Machine, I'm going to have a nice selection of previously loved machines that need a new home, and I've got two right now that really would like to go home with somebody. So if you're looking for one,
But you can't talk about the price of a used machine either.
no, they don't like me to. That being said, however, I can tell you that the new that Stellaires now cost seven.
You can say that.
Yeah, they cost $7,999 because that's an official Brother thing. So I can say that that's what they cost now,
Okay.
and I can tell you that a used Dream Machine is going to cost less than that.
Will it have a 4 in it?
It depends on the stitch count. It's probably going to have a 5 in it.
Okay. Just trying to get a ballpark.
But yes, if you are interested in Stellaire, we can get those two. Those are like I said, Brother just dropped the price on those to $7,999.
I love the
Is it-
dream machine.
Oh, did I tell you what happened? Okay, so you know how they have like consumer, like some of our vendors say you can't advertise stuff for less than they say.
Yes, like.
And so so the big magnetic hoops, we had those online, and we had them. What did we have them for?
the dime ones.
Yeah, the dime ones. We had them for $199.95, and I got a nasty gram that says you're in violation of contract. You know why? I had to be 99 cents and not 95 cents.
That was dime.
That was dime. Well, I'm sure they've got some enforcement power. Who
We
knows?
do not like.
I don't like 99. 95 looks way better than 99. And who doesn't like to get a nickel back?
I like 6s.
You like 6s?
I like 6s.
We could do 96. 96 kind of looks nice too.
69.
You're going to get another nasty gram if you don't put it up to 99.
Oh, we did. We did put it up to 99.
All right. Speaking of 69s, we had a great time Sunday afternoon at Garden Guild. And I don't know how that led into that.
I
but
don't
it
either
did.
because I'm
It
not
did.
even going to go
so
there.
thank
I'm
you
gonna
for
just-
everybody who attended. It was a lot of fun. I was dead beat when I left, though. I got to tell you, I was like crawling to my car.
But everybody had a good time by all accounts.
I believe so. I believe
yes,
so.
I
We
did.
certainly had some good laughs, and it was Ronnie's birthday, and she won she won something.
We're not supposed to say what she won.
No,
Grand
probably
prize.
is not supposed. Yeah, she won the grand prize
Oh.
on her birthday. How cool is that?
The grand prize.
Yeah.
Did it have anything to do with the liquor store down the street?
No,
Oh,
but
okay.
it did have something to do with 69. And if you want to know what that is, next time join us.
All I can-
Okay.
Did you ever see Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
No.
When they get out of the phone booth, what number are they thinking of? And they look at each other. 69, dude. It's like a line. You haven't seen it? It's okay. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is a cinematic classic masterpiece that everybody must watch.
Apparently, not everybody.
Well, you need to watch that and then watch John Wick, and you can think, wow, Keanu Reeves has come a long way.
Oh, okay. All right. Hey, so should we do turbo tip?
Yes.
Or
Who
should we do
is
quiz?
Madgar. Oh, I'm just reading comments real quick.
Okay, yeah, do that because I can't. I need to put my glasses on. I can't even see.
Madgar is Danny, Lisa.
Oh, did she want everyone to know that?
I don't know. She was
No, it's
asking.
Okay. Woohoo! Hi, Deb. Nice to see you. Lisa signed in.
Yeah,
nice,
Lisa, yep.
nice.
Lisa's very excited about the batiks. Are we doing turbo tips or quiz time?
Let's do quiz time.
Okay. Well, Eddie just did the turbo tips graphic. I was very
Oh, okay.
excited.
You did say turbo chip.
I did. Okay.
Oh, now
ready?
we're just doing quiz
let's
time.
see how good Eddie is. It's turbo tip time. Woo!
That was kind of sad.
It was very sad. Okay, my tip today is how I store my fabric.
I love this because there's so many questions I want to ask.
Yeah, I know you're going to have a field day with this one. This is an example of how I would store, let's back it up, my fabric. I have these miniature bolts, and I have a bunch of shelves. And the reason I don't just put them on the bolts, which I'll show you how I do the bolts, is because then when you take one out, if there's too many, they flop over. So I buy these little magazine or book, what are they called?
The magazine holders, I think.
Magazine holders.
Because
This is
you-
a fancy one. Usually I just buy white, cheesy ones.
Because you don't really need those for books, because books would stand up on their own.
No, it's good for books too because you can categorize.
But those are some, like, your coloring books?
Like different quilt books.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of, like, paperback
Like this
books.
is all one collection right
Yes.
here. And when I buy something at the store, I have a hard time going home and just plopping it down. One, because I want to see everything I have. Two, if I go like this, I can actually estimate how much I have on each board. If it's more than a fat quarter, it goes on one of these. It's my rule. If it's a fat quarter, it gets folded and it gets put in a special box. But if it's more than a fat quarter, it's going to go on one of these. The other thing I like about this is when I have little scraps of a fabric left over, the way I fold them, there's a pocket for you to put
Your scraps in.
your scraps
You
in.
almost just stabbed yourself and bled all over your
That
fabric.
would not be good. But there's actually a way to hold scraps of fabric with the real fabric. So when you open it up, you go, yeah, baby, here's a little piece. I don't need to cut it. Can you move him in? I want to show
Yes.
some. Oh, never mind. I can do it here. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm fine.
Okay.
The other thing I like about this method is, let's say I only need a fat quarter or I only need 8 inches. I don't have to unroll this whole board to get the amount I need.
Ooh, it's like having your
Watch.
own little bolt.
Get out of the way. Oh no, I can't get out of the way. I'll show you an overhead afterwards when we cut it. But it's like having your own little bolt. And I can just say, oh, I just need 8 inches. And I can go ahead and just measure off 8 inches and then put the rest away.
But the real question I have about fabric organization is not how you store it, but how do you organize it? Is it by collection? Is it by color? Is it by
depends.
theme?
It depends.
Okay.
If I have a collection, or I will organize it by collection. If I bought something for a specific project, like I'm going to show you tonight, then I'll organize it by project. If they're basics that I just like to have on hand as fillers, then I'll do it by color. So one row in my closet is like basics.
So if somebody,
Then there's collections, and then there's projects.
I'm just curious.
Because I hate cutting into a project fabric.
Well, I just see
But
all
I have.
read these articles about the perfect way to organize your quilt room, and it's
Well,
always
the
different.
other
and I
thing
always
is,
find it
if you're
interesting.
organizing by project, which I'm going to do, so I'm going to go over here a little bit. The secret to it is these really beautiful, very inexpensive magazine boards. These are the same boards that they're 8.5 by 11. They're the same boards you see people buy for magazines.
They are not comic book boards.
They are 8.5 by 11.
Comic book boards are smaller.
They're narrower, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You could use those, but these are 8.5
But
by
they're
11.
not 11. I think they're a little bit shorter than 11. So if you fold your yardage over, it's not going to fit quite
Yeah.
right.
So these come in packs of like, the 24-pound point is the weight of the board. They come 100 boards to a pack, so they're very inexpensive.
And you can pick them up on Amazon dirt cheap.
Yes, and what I do is, and
You
once,
don't get them at the dollar store?
I don't know, Danny, can we get them at the dollar store?
I've never seen them at the dollar
You can get them at a comic book store. A lot of comic book and
We'll
collectible
carry
stores will carry
magazine
them.
boards as well.
But you cannot, like I said, Amazon is the best.
One side is coated, one side is not. I don't like just one board, although you'll see sometimes that's what I use. But I like two boards, and I like the coating on the outside because I feel that that's just more protection for my fabric.
You just
I
like
have no
you just
idea,
like it's
but
because
I-
it's shiny.
I do,
It's like,
but
"Oh,
I do. I
shiny."
put these sides together like this, and I go ready to wrap. Okay? Now I
wish I met you when you were younger.
no, you're probably very happy you did not. So let's say I get home, I bought a bunch of this fabric at, see how, this is how I come home, and I go, yeah, okay, no. The first thing I do is fold it so that I can put it on the bolt. I call these bolts.
Yeah.
Put them on the bolt so I can unroll only what I need. Because I hate it when I have to unfold everything to do something. So the first thing,
There's a lady that comes through the shop that won't let me fold the fabric after I cut it.
well,
It really
okay.
irritates.
She's gonna like this. She's gonna like this idea then.
It makes me laugh.
She'll probably walk in with her own boards and take them home that way. Yeah.
And the first time she's trying to be very political about it, and I could just tell it was driving her nuts. I'm like, if you want to fold, it's not going to hurt my feelings. Thank you.
The secret is to go salvage to salvage first. Now, I'm not perfectly squaring this up. I'm not ironing it at this point because it's going into storage. But I am sort of,
Oh, I would.
making sure it's tidy, And then I'm folding it a half again. We can't see. I'll hold it up.
We can do an overhead shot.
I'm folding it in half again.
See,
If you
and
can
you
see
see
what
it-
the salvage
See,
looks
right over there.
what the salvage looks like. There we go.
Yeah.
So I folded it.
You need a code word.
I folded it in half, and then I'm going to put it down, and I'm going to fold it in half again. That's all the folding I have to do.
And this is why the magazine boards work better than the comic book boards, because fabric being exactly 44 inches in most cases, or sometimes 42,
Sometimes, yeah.
folding it 4 times is 44 divided by
Right.
4 is 11. And a magazine board is 11 inches wide.
If I really want to be informative, I
Lisa
can.
says 10 3/4.
That's a comic book board.
Right.
So
If-
it's off by 1/4 inch. And you have a little bit of flappiness. And I'm sure if you're somebody like Becky, that probably
If
drives
you
you
really
insane.
want to be good and see some of your lettering, because Danny said, why don't you label them? And I said, because I know what they are. But you could actually leave some of your salvage visible if you want to. I don't. I put my salvage on the inside. But you could put your salvage on the outside. I just think it's ratty looking, so it goes on the inside. So what's cool now,
The cool thing, please, are like,
Why are
company.
you not ironing it?
because
I'm
it's
very
going in a
disappointed.
box and it's gonna get creasy.
Yeah, because
But your
again.
selvages aren't showing
The-
either.
Because they look ugly.
The quilting police are going to come by and check out your sewing room. The salvages are showing.
Looks ugly.
She has so much company up there and
10 demerits for salvage showing.
looking at her.
You guys are so cruel.
20 demerits for not
You're gonna make me
ironing.
cry.
Wait, that's like in Harry Potter. It's the house games. You get 10 points for House Gryffindor because your salvages don't show.
Okay, well, now what I'm doing is I'm just rolling it on my little board. See, I'm making a little bolt. I am ignoring. You guys are mean to me tonight.
Well, that's what when
And when I get near the end,
you'll be happy to know that my mother, we went round and round how to fold fat quarters for the store
yeah, there's the,
because she did not like the salvages showing, and
Yeah,
and she would
okay,
fold it so
see?
there would be no raw edges.
yeah, I'm with
So
her on that.
you can see.
So did you see
you
how I
still
wrapped
do
the
it that
corner at
way.
the very end? I got near the end and I went, okay, far enough. Now look, this is where you can hide scraps too, that are still big enough to use. I've got and I'm keeping them with the fabric. I don't have to have another spot. So when I get near the end, I just create this, and this is a little envelope. Now I could even put my pattern in here if it was a project and I had the pattern. See, I could stick that in there too. Then when I get to the end, my tip is do not use something that's going to rust. Do not, because you will regret it. So either use a really good pin, or could you hand me one of those quilter pins? This is what I really like to use, but make sure it's a good one, not a cheesy one, It's one of those quilter pins.
Basting pin.
Basting pin, yeah.
Yeah, with a little curve, the curved basting
With a little
pin.
curve to it. And truthfully, if you're using the boxes, you don't even need to pin it. You can just stick it in the box. But there you have it. It's ready to go.
That was
on the
exciting.
Nice. Very nice.
And then you can just
Thank you.
line all your.
Maybe I'll take my magazine racks home.
Magazine
My
boards
magazine
Yeah.
boxes.
with the boxes. And then think about it, when you're working on something, you can just take the box out.
Yeah,
And you just set it there and you're good to go.
better than putting them in the drawer like I did.
You see that? That's why I.
That's me. That's me. That's my turbo tip. Okay, I can see,
See
I
that?
haven't convinced anybody, but
Well,
I like it.
Well, see, I do.
It's great.
I do
I
all
like
my
it and I
sewing here
use
at the
it.
shop. So what I do is I just go to the. I just take the bolt off the shelf and cut it because I'm spoiled.
Yeah, well, that's
And
what
then-
I do. That's what I do. I
And
just
then-
take it off the bolt.
And then Danny yells at me because the inventory's off.
Yes.
Well, that's what I do. And if I had little pieces like this for a project, if I was wrapping these, I'd wrap these on a board too. I would just wrap more than one on a board because they're all going in here together because they're project related. But I would still wrap them and put them on the board.
Do you ever find like boxes that you forgot you had of fabric?
No, mine are all visible, all of it.
But like those little scraps, like you have like a bunch of scraps on there and you start
I-
unwrapping, you're like, wow, I forgot I had that little.
Oh, well, if I have a little scrap, it's stuck in there.
Okay.
It's where, so I go, I need some green. If it could be a happy surprise, I only need a little bit of green. I open it up and go, whoa, whoa, it's right here. I'm done. Then I'm very excited. Anyway, okay.
That was exciting.
Yeah, okay. All right, well. Let's do a quiz.
Quiz time!
Let's
quiz!
see if everybody's awake out there. Oh my gosh.
Everybody up.
Okay, quiz time. 3 questions based on last week's show. We're going to get this right one of these days. All 3 answers on one line before you hit the return key. Okay? Not one answer return, one answer return. All 3 answers on one line, then hit the return key. Got that, Lisa? Oh, we're not supposed to
You
give
know
a
what?
shout out to
Doris Hall.
Doris Hall. Thanks for coming in and watching our show. Like, subscribe, and share. Hope I meet you someday in the shop. Maybe.
Maybe.
I like that.
Yes.
Okay, ready?
So when they finally figure out how this quiz works, all the fun's going to be gone because half of the fun is watching people.
them answer it.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Ready? Right? Okay. What was the name of the block that I was teaching Brent to lay out in Design Space so we could cut the pieces? What was the name of the block that we were cutting out?
And if you
And
don't
I
know
was
the answer,
And I was using Design Space and the Cricut to cut the pieces.
and if you don't know the answer, don't feel bad because I cut the block out and I didn't know the answer to this one.
That's question number 1. Question number 2. What was the secret ingredient? Yes, I've been using it. What was the secret ingredient to our homemade starch? What is the secret ingredient? Look how you don't even know it's in there. What is the secret ingredient to our homemade starch? We're kind of delayed there, Brent.
Well, I was going to tell a story about you think it's water, but I realized if I told the story, it might give away the answer.
Yeah, you can't do that yet. You can tell the story after. If you
I'll
want.
do it after. Well,
Okay.
it's not that good of a story, but I'll tell you.
Okay, guys. How number 3? Yeah, 3. Number 3.
That's a Boy Scout thing.
I'm lucky I can still do that. How many GCs? Those are gift cards in Becky Land. How many GCs did we give out last week?
Now, when you have the answers, type them all in one line and hit enter.
Number
And-
1.
And the
What was
first one to show up on the chat wins.
What was the name of the block that we cut pieces for?
The first right one that shows
The first one, the right
Woo!
one.
Remember, we cut the block pieces. I showed Brent how to use Design Space because I had a.
Huckins.
I-
Hash square, triangles, vodka, and 3.
Oh, almost! Almost! Almost!
Gunter's Path. Vodka.
Drunkard's Path vodka and
Oh,
zero.
gee, no, but I like the try. Lisa,
Keep trying, keep trying.
Lisa, you got 2 out of 3.
Everybody remembers the vodka, so I'll tell.
Yeah, at least they were paying
Okay, so
attention during
I'll
that.
tell the vodka story. while we're-
Woo-hoo.
So years ago in
Come
my
on,
younger.
I gotta repeat my question.
Vodka and
How many
Yeah.
GCs? How many
Yeah.
GCs did we give away, Helen?
4.
Why are you telling them the answer?
We have this nice new microphone that everybody can hear you.
Just yelled it out.
I was very quiet. You didn't hear me.
Wait, you said Lisa had 2 right, but she only had 1 right.
No.
The first one,
She has.
yeah, she only
Oh,
had
that's
one.
right.
Oh,
You
I'm
only had
sorry.
one
It's
right.
G. No, it's Helen that's got 2 right.
Helen
Yes.
got 2.
Helen, you got 2 right, baby.
Lisa.
Come on.
Nope.
We're
I'll give
almost
you a
there.
hint.
Yeah, I'm
It's
okay,
not
Lisa.
3. It's not 3. The 3 is wrong. Anyone?
I didn't even watch it.
I didn't even watch it. I got the vodka.
Woo!
Okay,
Okay,
Jean.
come on. How many GCs did we give out last week?
Helen got 2 out of 3.
Deb, you
So,
know.
Lisa.
Deb, you're out there and you know the answer, and she's trying to let somebody else win. I know she is.
Well, she can. Well,
She's being nice.
I don't know why, because she knows we're just gonna give out more GCs. Because
Okay,
that's how
I
that
thought
works.
that was the easiest question.
Deb,
Deb!
Deb
I
got
knew
it.
she knew. I knew she knew. You were just being nice, weren't you, Deb?
But I'm gonna tell you what. Yeah.
What?
Flying geese.
I mean, we gave out 4 last week.
4.
Yes, but they have to play the game.
They,
first.
look at all the people that played. So
Okay,
maybe we should
yeah.
give each and everybody that answered, go ahead and give them 1.
Oh, how
And
many
that
is
should
that?
be. That's 5.
5?
Yeah.
So who are we giving them to,
We're gonna
Pumpkin?
Lisa,
Lisa,
Jean, Helen, and Deb.
and Deb. That is 4.
That's 4. I thought I had 5 on there.
That right, guys? She can't count anymore.
Well, we'll throw. Well,
No, it's over.
yeah. Okay. So those 4. We're gonna give
You're
out 4
giving
more.
4 out
we're
again?
gonna give the 4 that we're
You
on
guys
top of
writing
it.
that down? Who we said to give it out to? But let's give it to Deb.
Well, Deb-
Once again.
Yeah, Deb.
Once
yeah.
again.
So Deb,
Deb
Jean,
and
Lisa,
Deb,
and Helen.
and she was just sitting in the background trying to let somebody else win. Wasn't that cute?
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
why we gotta let it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
Bolero had that too.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
GC.
GC.
GC. GC. Hey, D. D's on from Tennessee. Woo.
Tennessee.
Woo. Nice to see ya.
Is she related?
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. In fact, our show today is brought to you by Deanna Stoll.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And so she gets a $10 GC
Okay.
because she called and said, you know what I would like?
I want to know how to cut things.
And you know how I say, if I use it on the show,
Yeah.
in a
The-
turbo tip or a show tip, I'm
Yeah.
here, baby.
Yep.
Yep. So $10 GC to D. You
Yeah.
didn't know that beforehand, so now you're even poorer.
That's all right.
Okay.
And the construction's killing me anyway. We'll just give all the money
okay.
away.
All right. So tonight's show brought to you by D. We're going back. We're going back to the beginning. The very, very beginning.
Did you know that at one point I was like thumbing through these old quilting magazines once, and they were extolling the virtues of this newfangled gadget called a rotary cutter?
Oh, well,
And
we're
I-
not
and
going
I-
that
and
far back,
And
guys.
it blew my mind because I had never thought of it. I'm like, I didn't realize that we didn't always
Now-
have rotary cutters.
And now we can't live without them.
Yeah, because it was like a mid-90s magazine. It was really kind of funny to me. It was like,
But-
oh, the rotary cutter.
But what we're going back to is the basics of cutting. Because I know we all think we know how to cut, and we do. But sometimes it's good to revisit stuff because we go, oh.
How many times have you cut yourself?
Oh, I have not cut myself.
Okay.
So there. How about them apples?
That's good. I haven't either, but I don't
Yeah.
like to brag about it because
But
I'm
let's,
a figure it's a
let's
matter
talk
of time.
about the basics we need before we can even cut, right? We need a self-healing mat, right?
Yes.
This is the smallest I would buy if I had one mat. I would not buy a mat smaller than this,
And that is a 24 by 18.
18. And I would not buy anything smaller than this if I had one mat.
And the reason that those will work if instead of the big 24 by 36 is you can turn them sideways to get the 24. That's why those will
Which
work.
is what I just just did.
Yeah.
See, if you're cutting the full length of your fabric, you can go sideways like this. Thank you. You can go sideways like this.
Yes.
And well, that's actually considered right side up.
Yes.
If you don't want to go the long way, you can turn it and go this way if you're doing a smaller piece.
But you'll find that but cutting full with the fabric.
But you
find
don't
the
want to go
24.
any smaller than
Yeah,
this.
I wouldn't.
You don't. And you can get two-sided mats, and they really, you can get life out of both sides. Some eyes like the dark side better than the light side.
And some
It depends on my fabric.
and some mats cut nicer than other mats too. Like there's some brands out there that like if you get yourself like I love the Martelli mats. They're just super expensive.
Yeah,
But they
are.
cut like a dream. They
Oh,
cut.
and I don't even own one of those.
They cut really nice.
For
But
a
we
long
carry
time.
yes, the Quilter Select is a nice second to it. That's why we carry it because in the store we stock Quilter Select because kind of function versus price. The Quilter Select is a very nice mat.
I like.
But
the
if I
Quilter
was
Select.
if,
And Fiskars.
yeah,
I
if-
grew up with the Fisker one.
if I
until
wasn't
found
worried
this
about
one.
price, I would probably stock more of the Martellis, but they tend to be a little bit more expensive and you're
Yeah.
gonna it's something you're gonna cut through and throw away at some point. You don't want to. Well,
Yeah,
anyway,
they do wear. They do
Quilter
wear.
Select is nice, but like I said, I do like the Martelli as well.
Okay, so you need it.
Martellis have grids.
Yes,
Oh, I'm trying to find one without.
without
No
grids.
grids.
Yeah.
Turn
That's-
over. Turn over.
Use your ruler only.
Turn over
Yeah.
your Cricut mat. But sometimes you do need a grid. It isn't like you don't ever need the grid
Right,
on
right.
your board. You do. What we're going to show you tonight is try not to need the grid.
Yeah, that's
However, on Quilter Select, I really like the width of their lines. I don't know if Eddie can do that. I like the width of their lines. You'll notice like the board underneath, those lines are thicker than, in my brain they are anyway, than my Quilter Select. So if I am
But-
going to use a line, I want my lines to be thin. I don't want them to be chunky.
and the other thing you also get on the Quilter Select is you've got the nice markings as well. You've got the 1/4 inch hash marks and the 1/2 inch
Yes.
hash marks and the 1/8
Yeah.
inch, which is really helpful.
It's very helpful.
Some mats are only going to have it along the edge, whereas the Quilter Select you can see has
It's
it.
all the way.
Yeah,
all
all
the way
over.
through it.
Yep.
So this is because I've never tried them out Telly. Maybe someday I'll get to.
I believe.
Until then, I have to. Well, then he's too well loved because I actually brought my own mat
Oh, yeah.
because they drive me nuts. Okay, so you need a good mat. The other thing we need is a rotary blade, right?
Rotor cutter.
In a
in a
cutter
blade.
with a blade.
Yes, and what else? And when
And there's a big debate on those.
there's big debate, but the first thing I'm going to say is you want to use a 45 millimeter is your standard size.
Yes.
You can get bigger and you can get smaller. The bigger
If
blade,
you only buy one.
yeah, the bigger blade is going to easier to hold a straight line and cut straight. Smaller blades are great for curves and stuff, so you can get like little 18 millimeters. The reason the 45 is the most popular is you can cut fairly. It cuts really nice. Cost of ownership. If I was just cutting straight lines all the time, I would do the 60 millimeter. But a 60 millimeter blade is a lot more expensive than a 45, and the benefit isn't enough that it's worth the
Here's
money.
why I don't like the 60, even if I'm cutting straight lines, because when I make a mistake, it's a bigger mistake.
Yeah.
I'm like,
But the-
no!
But the 60 being a bigger blade, it does cut straighter. You can cut thicker fabric. But 45 is kind of the standard, and you're going to find the cost of ownership on a 45 is a lot less because replacement blades tend to be cheaper. So if you haven't purchased one and you just want one blade that does it all, 45 is a good middle of the road blade,
It's a good way to start.
and it's a good place to start. And it's it's my go-to blade.
So now we've got the size of the blade if you only can afford one blade. Now let's talk about what holds the blade.
The cutter. Okay.
Show off your favorite.
Okay, so this is I'm over here. This is my favorite cutter, and you'll notice it's kind of hooked. There is another cutter that I like. It's called an Ergo Cut, and it is the red ones with the handles on the side. It's very similar to this. I like this one a little bit more than the Ergo Cut because
And
it's
that's
actually
a true cut.
this is a true cut. True cut. And I like this from a store standpoint because it's ambidextrous. The Ergo Cuts.
Means you can use both left or right
Left or
hand.
right hand.
Yeah.
The Ergo Cuts you have to buy either specific left or specific right. The other thing I like about this, it's got the blade safety isn't spring loaded, and that's another host of issues. Now, most people are familiar with your standard. This has got a little bit of a curve to it. Then you'll see these here, and I know Becky loves this one because it's shiny.
There's more than one reason why
Yeah.
I like it, but I
But
do like that it's
but
shiny
again,
and
it's got a straighter handle. This one's a little bit more ergonomic, and there are just regular straight handle cutters. The reason that I like the Ergo cut is that you can actually cut sitting down fairly easily because of the shape of it. What?
I do not cut sitting down.
And most people can't cut sitting down because if you're using a straight handled blade, you have to make sure that you have a 45 cant so that
It's
you
about 30.
30 or 40, but you have to have a cant on the blade to cut. And
Yeah.
it's very hard to do sitting down. You have to get your elbow up and it gets really funky. With an ergonomic, with the True Cuts or Ergo cut, you don't need that cant. Because of the way this is shaped, you're already on top of it and pressing down. So you don't need to worry about getting that angle. If you learn to cut on a straight blade, there's a little bit of a learning curve to use one of these, but if you haven't learned to cut yet, this is a good place to start because you can pick up the habit right away, and it's got a few more. It's easier to cut. You can get more downforce on it, and the big reason
Is the rulers you can buy for it.
no,
Because I hate those rulers.
the rulers don't mean anything to me.
Okay.
The real reason I like an ergonomic, I fell in love with these the day when we used to do block. My mom would do these block of the months, and she's like, "Oh, we're gonna do this block of the month," and guess who got to cut everything out and put it in little baggies for everybody?
Oh,
It was
that's how you got your start?
It was me. Yes. So.
Then why aren't you doing the cutting demo?
So what happens is at the end of the day, you wake up the next morning and your whole forearm hurts. And the first couple times, I'm like, why does my arm hurt so much? I didn't do anything yesterday. I just cut fabric. Turns out the ergonomics of cutting, on this you hold your
That's really
keep falling. When I'm cutting with this, my wrist stays straight. When I'm cutting with any of these straight cutters, you notice my wrist has to turn.
It does.
And so that's the big difference. If you get an ergonomic cutter, your wrist will stay straight. And you're going to find if you're doing a lot of cutting, it's not going to be as painful. It's a little bit more correct. And that's the big benefit. Like I said, it's a little bit of a learning curve. If you're doing a lot of cutting, I would encourage you to learn to use it and use it. But if you're only cutting now and again, or you have a cricket, you never cut anything anyway.
You do have to cut strips for the cricket.
A regular straight handle is fine, and everybody's got their personal favorites anyway.
Yeah.
But I will say that if you are doing a lot of cutting, it does make a difference to have an ergonomic cutter because your arm will not hurt at the end of the day, or it's actually the next day that it
Yeah,
hurts.
I don't think I ever cut that much in one time because I'm a cutter sewer. I don't like to cut.
Well, if you,
But I got two favorites. This is definitely one of mine, and it's because it's spring loaded, and that means. Am I on?
Yeah, there you go.
I can't tell because of that thing.
I'm gonna move it. Come on, move these.
Spring loaded. That means my blade disappears when I'm not engaging. So it has a big shut off button right here, so I can't even press it. But during the time of me doing my thing, I'm lazy about shutting my blade. So I like this because the blade opens, the blade closes. The blade opens, the blade closes.
And that's safety 101 is get in the habit of always closing
Closing
your blade.
your blade.
Always close your blade.
This
It should
closes
be
up automatically unless somebody comes and picks it up and presses
Yeah.
the lever.
Like-
So at the end of the day, before I put it away, I'll do that. But not during the day. I'll
But
just
most people that do a lot of cutting will be in the habit. It's a habit. I will always close my blades because you don't want exposed blades kicking around, and that's how.
And it does require you to be at about a 30-degree angle to get the best cut. This is true. This one I really like because it's really pretty. Mostly.
It is a
sparkles.
comfortable cutter, though. I do have to admit it is.
It's very sparkly, but more than that, it has weight to it.
Yep.
So I find I'm putting less pressure on it when I use it, and I wish it had that kind of shut-off blade. It does not. You have to open and close it. So what I do is I get lazy and I keep it in its tin when the blade is open until the end of the day. And then I shut it, which I should not tell you to do that. You're supposed to close your blade. But I like it, one, because it's weighted. And two, I don't know, I just feel like it automatically goes to that angle for me. Like, I don't know, it just seems to automatically go there. I don't have to think about it. And it's very pretty.
That's the most important thing.
For me, it is. But mostly I like the weight. Truthfully,
Yeah.
it probably weighs
The-
3 times as
Oh,
much
yeah.
as this one. So there's
How
weight.
come you haven't put any crystals on it?
Rhinestone.
Right, so.
Good idea. Good idea. I don't know. Okay, so now we got some cutters.
You gotta get
We
a
got-
laser etcher and you can like do
We
all
got a
sorts.
board. Now we went to the store, went to Four Pines, and we bought some fabric.
Yes.
Okay.
Lots of fabric.
And this came up because Deanna was like, how do I get straight cuts? She was trying to cut a 12-inch square, and she said, I can't figure out where to start to get a straight cut. And I said, I know what you're saying. Do not go by where the shop cuts. They aren't in here to make sure you get a straight cut, Brent. Also,
If you'll notice,
I
I
will-
always go a little bit beyond what people ask for, so that when you straighten it up, you still have the yard you bought.
I will urge you not to use the fold line, although you can have somewhat success using the fold line. You definitely don't use the salvage lines.
Gee, I would say use the fold line.
Well, the fold line's better than the salvage line, but I press first thing I do is get rid of the fold line. Press it out. When I'm going to go get my straight edge, I press it out. And here's why. I want to drape my fabric. Like, if I have my fabric like this, do you see? Can you see it cocky?
Mm-hmm.
See, it's not good, right? It's not pretty.
see the-
It's not falling straight.
You've got
So
all
I
that.
do a little dance. Now, if I have a big piece of fabric, it's the same way. I go somewhere in the middle, and I go and I dance my salvages back and forth until I say it's falling nice and straight. More often than not, I do not find that to be my fold line.
Oh, it probably isn't.
And that tells me my fabric is straight. Everybody see the difference? No?
Yes.
Yes? Help me out, people!
Okay.
Yes.
This is not straight.
Yes, it's
This
not.
is
That,
not
see,
straight.
if you're watching at home, you see how you've got this weird kind of bunching
It's
here.
bunchy.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's not straight.
So
But-
I'm just walking it. My arms are what, 2 feet apart?
Yep.
I even do this on a small piece, even a fat quarter. I'll put my ends up and go walk it till it looks like it's hanging nice and
And then
straight.
you'll notice that if you're watching at home again, there's that crease that was there has kind of disappeared. So now it's hanging nice and straight.
It is. It's hanging nice and straight. Now I'm going to put it down on my board. This is when I flatten down to create my fold. This is my fold right here. Now keep in mind I prep my fabric, which means there's starch in it. So I'm going to get a nice fold right now just by using my hands. So I'm going this way, and you're just smoothing it out. Now comes the test. See how unruly, we get a overhead, see how unruly those cuts are? And that was cut from the shop. You can't help it. They're not on the bolt straight. They are not.
Jean wants to know if you ever rip.
If I ever what? Oh, yes. I have ripped, and I'll tell you why I don't rip. For I can't stand the mess. I can't stand the mess it makes. It's true, though. That's how I grew up with clothing making. The first thing we do, what Jean's talking about, is when you make a snip in the fabric,
Yeah, and
and you tear it, because it will tear along the grain of
And
the
that
fabric.
was that magazine article I was talking about, that the wonderment of the rotocutter.
And
That was the debate. They were arguing
Yes.
whether it was better to rip or to cut.
Yes, and I have tried it, and I tried to like it, but I ended up cutting anyway because I didn't like all the threads sticking
Well,
out
the
on
other
the
thing
side.
you can also run into when you rip as well, is you're going to stretch the fabric a little bit. So you might have to cut in a little bit further so that that edge that you tore
Oh, I
gets-
didn't even know that.
can get depending on the quality of fabric. But when you tear it, that stress on the fabric can deform that edge. So even though you've got a straight rip, it could be a little bunchier.
I prefer that. Just let it drape. Just let it drape. Get a straight drape. I'm good to go. Now let's talk rulers, because there's a couple rulers you're going to want to have. One is at least one 24-inch ruler. And I say a big one. If you only can get one ruler, don't get
The 24 and a half.
Don't
by
get
8 and a
this
half.
one. This is a nice secondary ruler.
They can kind of see it.
Can you, if I
Yeah.
put it down maybe? There, okay. This is a 2.5, which is a fun ruler to have, and I'll show you why I use this a lot. But when I'm squaring up, I want more square edge to square up with. So I would get at least one big 24-inch, and I'll show you what else I would get ruler-wise. There's a couple rulers to start with. This is the first one, though. So
If
now,
you're only going to have one ruler, it should be a 24 by 6 or a 24 by 8.
Yes.
And a half.
Well, yeah, 8.5 or 24.5.
Yeah, you need the 24. Now what I'm doing overhead here is I'm lining up a straight edge of my ruler with my fold. I am not using my mat. I don't want to use my mat. My mat's there for my blade. I'm not measuring with my mat. I just told you I draped this and it was nice and flat, so I'm now lining this ruler up. And there's a lot of things. Do I put the line on the cloth? Do I put the line off the cloth? It shouldn't be all on the cloth because the line is 1 or 2 threads, but it shouldn't be all off the cloth either. It's like,
And you see, this is why I don't do the
Like
whole
this.
drapey thing. I just start with the cut and go, but it's not, mine isn't as straight as what she's going to do. The other thing that you may see from the good old days is lip edge rulers. Those were really popular for a while as well.
well, I have a tip for that.
Oh, you're going to actually say they're good?
No, I'm going to show you because for some people, I brought my washi tape again.
But lip edge rulers are very popular because you'd use them to square up on the mat.
Well, you can build your own lip with your washi tape.
But then that assumes that the lip is straight and the mat is straight. That's why I don't.
I don't use my mat.
I know.
I
that's what-
use my ruler. I'm putting the washi tape on my ruler underneath
I know, but
so that it goes up neatly against the fold of my fabric. I build a lip with my washi tape. The other thing I use the washi tape for is, oh my God, how many times do you count once and then mess it up, right? I use this to mark. If I got a lot of the same thing to cut, I'm going to put this on my ruler because it comes off and it leaves no stuff. But I actually will, and you'll see, I will build a lip with my washi tape. And because it comes off after. No harm, no foul. But okay, so now we're lined up here, right? Because I just told you this was a straight edge. I said the selvage is never a straight edge. Never, ever, ever think the selvage is straight. It's not.
and never assume that the cut edge is straight either.
Never. It just isn't.
Yeah.
Because of the way it's on the bolt.
Yeah.
It's highly unlikely. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is if I cut along here, I'm going to end up with 2 straight edges, right?
Yep.
Okay, so now when you cut, you want to think of your hand as like a little spider that's moving up the ruler while your blade is moving up the ruler. You don't want your hand down here and your blade up there. I don't care how good your ruler is, you run the risk of the ruler moving. You want pressure on the ruler with your hand. I can't do it with this fat ruler, but if I could, I would walk with my pinky on the edge to keep the ruler even steadier. But I can't get my fingers that far apart anymore. So I'll show you what I do instead, because it's really sad. I've come up a way, though. So, because I'm not the only one in the quilting world who can't do that. So
I just have giant Sasquatch mitts and I just slap it down.
no,
and
it's
go.
not about, you don't want to put your hand flat either. You want to think about a spider, because you want to walk with this. And you want to keep this as straight as possible. Some people say tip it towards the ruler. No. Some people say take it this way. No. Just picture this side of this blade right against your ruler, and this hand and this blade working together. Okay? It's not a race. The other thing is, don't be cutting like this. With it lined up with your belly button, it's going to go wonky on you. Okay? It should line up with your shoulder, because this is the cutting guy right here.
And-
so you want to line up with your shoulder, not like this. And I don't ever want to see you doing this. Okay? Not cool. Or this. Not cool. The only two
You're giving
ways...
away all my secrets.
The only 2 ways to cut are this way and sometimes this way. So you're never cutting towards yourself, and you're never cutting across yourself, and you're never cutting in front of your belly. You're going to get wonky lines. So this is good, right? So I'm going to do my little spider. See, and it's okay to stop along the way if you have to in the beginning, if you're not real fast. First you have to
I was
open your
going to say,
blade.
that's not cutting.
First you have to open your blade.
And sharp blades. Don't be stingy on
yes.
sharp blades.
Yeah. 2 things are going to happen if you know when you cut and it doesn't cut all the way through, and you go, damn. It's usually one of, well, maybe 3 things. One is you have a dull blade. 2, you haven't pressed evenly as you're cutting. Like if you get far away and you start to let the pressure off.
Which is why the ergo cut is nice, because you're on top
Right.
of it.
You can actually hear the sound if it's quiet, and it
Yeah.
never is in here. But at home, if it's quiet, you can actually hear the threads cutting. and you can tell whether you kept it even pressure the whole way. The third reason is a worn out spot on your cutting mat.
And that's why you want a sharp blade, because your
Yes.
$80 mat will last longer if you change the $4 blades.
Yes. So,
So
let's spider walk.
that's just some economics for you.
Let's spider walk up here. This time my blade is open. Can you hear it?
Yes.
Hear it? Right? That sounded good. It sounded like it cut the whole way,
It
right?
did, yeah.
Let's see. It did. Now, here's how I know if I have a good square cut. Before I go any further and start whacking away, open it up and look at the fold we made. Is it wonky at the fold, or is where I cut it, not where the shop cut it? Where I cut it, is it nice and straight?
See, you're just way more work. I would have just
It's
whacked
nice
it
and
gone.
straight. And the reason this is important, if you keep whacking and you are cutting strips, and this first one isn't straight, guess what, pumpkins? None of them are going to be when you open them up. They're all going to have little bows in them. Have you had that happen, Brent? Fess up.
Well,
I know we all have.
But the other thing I'm going to tell you about the bow as well is because of body mechanics. As you get further away from your cut at the top of the ruler,
That's why you spider.
I know, but there's a tendency to
No,
straight,
straight,
yes,
straight.
But the body mechanics, you will have a
Maybe
tendency.
yours.
The way, if you're right-handed, if you're right-handed, the way you're using a straight cutter,
Yeah.
you have a tendency to loop it in as you get further away from you. So be
Okay.
very careful of that, because people will actually, I've seen people do it. They cut, and the whole ruler moves with them.
Yeah, that's not
it's
cool.
it's a very subtle thing, but it's because of as you get further away and the way you're holding it.
If when I do this test it doesn't look good, I am going to pick it up again and do the shimmy. Because that means I didn't get my shimmy right. That's what's wrong. It means I didn't get my shimmy right. I didn't put it down. I don't have it the fabric nice and square. So this is a really good test.
Ever get anything made? All this work you.
And you can do this periodically too, as you're cutting along. If you say, this is starting to look a little wonky, go ahead and do another little test and see. It's got to be straight.
And
It's
what-
got to
and-
be.
Glue it.
And what I
You
would
can
say,
glue it.
and what I would say, if it is wonky, you can usually fix it with the seam allowance.
No! That'll be another show. Perfect quarter inch.
But
All
if,
right.
if you know it's wonky, just cheat it a little bit.
Okay, now this is the next thing people will do that makes me go, ah! They go, okay, I got it all squared up, so I'm going to pick up my fabric and I'm going to turn it over to this side because I cut
It's easier to cut from that side.
on
yeah.
this side. And I'm like, don't move the fabric. Don't move the fabric. Let's say I need a 1-inch strip. I can
It
take
must drive you nuts to watch me cut.
this ruler. I try not to look. All right, let's make a 2-inch strip because that's what I've been bored. So what I'm doing is I'm lining up my ruler, my big ruler, with that beautiful edge I just told you was a beautiful edge, right?
Yeah.
I'm also double checking the bottom of my folds.
And we're making a 2-inch strip here.
I'm making a 2-inch strip. And I'm
Okay.
putting my black lines on my ruler just not totally on the fabric, but not totally off the fabric, in between. See that? How cool that is? And now I take my second ruler,
Now
my
I want to
long, skinny ruler.
point something out real quick. This is a common mistake. You wanted a 2-inch strip.
Oh, yeah. This is
See,
a
it's
2.5
a 2.5 inch
we
because-
need to turn our ruler around. Oh, I do that all the time.
It's a nice feature once
That's
you're used
when
to it.
I would put washi tape. I seriously would put washi tape on my ruler to remind me. In fact, I'm going to show you how I do that. But I'm lining up the
most modern-
bottom and the edges.
Most modern rulers are at 1/2-inch increments, so you're getting
They
your
get
solid
both.
line on 1/2 inch depending on which side of the ruler you're using. So this is something to keep in mind when you're cutting, because like Becky just about almost cut a 2.5-inch strip, thinking it was 2.
If I knew I was cutting a bunch of 2-inch strips, I would have definitely done this to my ruler before I even got going. Just to remind me. Now I'm not cutting and counting and all that. I know if I got to cut X amount of 2-inch strips, I don't put it exactly on. In fact, one is a little too far over for my likings. I just put it near where I got to be as an eyeballer. If I was doing it as a lip, like I was talking about before, I would be very exact and I'd put it underneath my ruler. And you only need it in a couple places. You don't need it the whole ruler. But
And so now you're
I
going to
think
take,
I can cut this right.
and then you're going to take the other ruler.
I'm going to take the other ruler, which is good for my wacko hand.
With your kitten wrists.
And I'm going to hold this ruler, and I'm going to place this ruler against it. And then I'm going to move this ruler.
It's interesting technique.
And now look I can get my finger off the side too. So again, I'm spidering it all the way up. But this is the fun part. How many times have you cut a strip and then go to pick it up and it's not cut all the way through and it's attached to the big piece of fabric and the whole thing goes, "Bleh!" It moves on you, right?
How does it go?
It moves on you, right?
No, I don't know how.
Okay.
How does it go?
Now let's pretend I didn't cut all the way through, which I know I did because I have a sharp blade and I used real pressure and I listened. If it didn't cut all the way through and I got this far and I had a problem, guess what's still sitting here?
Your ruler.
And I just go zoop. Oh, another problem right here. Zoop. And I'm not moving any of my fabric.
Interesting.
See that? See that? So I'm not moving my fabric, I'm moving my ruler. And if you're really good, and I'm not, you can just keep moving this ruler, but I always like to take the fabric out because of my eyes. I like to see my edge. So the next cut, I would line this up again. And you notice when I took the ruler away, I didn't move it far. I just moved it a little bit. You know where I think this comes from? Woodworking. I think this is a woodworking thing. So the ruler butts up. I slide it out of the way.
Yeah.
Gene makes a good point. You could just go to the other side of the table.
Well, some people can't. Some people cannot. Some people
Or you
cannot.
turn your whole mat
They
around.
turn the whole mat. That's what I see. I don't have room to swing a giant mat around. That's what a lot of people do. They'll turn the
Yeah.
mat around. I'm not turning anything around, and I'm getting my beautiful strips. The other thing this is handy for is, let's say I need to cut a 12-inch strip because I need 12-inch blocks.
Ooh, yes, I want to see how you're going to do
How many of you have a ruler this long that's 12 inches?
12 inches wide.
Yeah. Nobody.
So it's just 12-inch square.
They make a 24-inch square, or they used to.
Yeah, I have one
Right?
of
I
those
can
too.
use that's the other thing I would recommend, a big square and a little square.
But I see where you're going with
And
this.
I didn't bring my big square. But that's okay because I'm going to show you how I use this. This has to get out of my way. I'm going to make sure I get the 1 on this one and not the half. And I'm going to go to 12. And I'm going to line up the 12. Now a straight line is 2 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I've lined this up, yep, that works too. But this will work for 18, 20, 24. In fact, if I need to add rulers to get where I'm going, I can make it as long as short as I need to.
I can just see you in your crowd. You got like 6 rulers lined up.
Normally I don't.
I need to get
cut
a
that
two. I gotta
long.
get a
If
72-inch cut.
I need a 48-inch cut, I'm probably folding in half and doing, the 24. But, okay, so Danny just gave me a 12-inch ruler, and square one, which this is a good one to have. If you only get one good square ruler, a 12-incher is a good one to have. I'm going to try
Well,
and...
it's 12 and a half.
It is 12 and a half. No. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So I would find the 12 marker again, but you saw I could do it that one, right?
Yep.
I'd line it up like this, and then I'd use my
Second rule.
skinny long one. Or I could use my fat long one, but I like my skinny long one because of my hands. I'd butt them. Oh, I'm off
Yeah, I
the
was gonna
cutting
say, you're
mat.
off the mat.
Got a tiny cutting net today, and let's go this way. Okay. So I got my 12-incher here. I'm lining it up.
I was
putting
waiting
my
for you,
ruler
Danny. I
on.
knew.
Is this making sense to anybody? And look, I've just lined it up. I just lined it up.
My tongue's bleeding.
They're together. I'm just shoving that a little bit out of the way. Oop, I forgot to spider at the beginning. That I'm bad at. You really should spider the whole way.
Have you seen the grippy things, the gypsy gripper you can put on the ruler?
Yeah, I don't.
Well,
I got to slide. I want my rulers to slide
Oh,
out
I
of
just
the way.
thought I always thought those were funny because they painted them pink and put quilter on it and charged you $40.
Yeah.
But you can pick them up at the pharmacy for
Yeah.
$9.95. They're just blue and they're
I
shower
now have a
handles.
beautiful 12-inch strip, and now I need to get a 12-inch square. What else do I know about this? I know I have 3 straight edges. The only edge that isn't straight is my selvage. Correct?
This is correct.
So if I cut off my selvage using my straight edges, and
Then-
make sure you look at both salvages because they're not created equal, and you want both of them gone.
So you're gonna have a parallelogram when you're done.
I am now, no, it's a rectangle. Okay, I'm lining up with
A
my
rectangle
beautiful,
is a parallelogram.
and look what else I'm doing. I'm double check. You're right. I'm double checking up here too, Brent. Listen, watch. Where's your cutting? I'm straight here, and look how straight I am there.
Excellent.
It's beautiful. Oh, Brenda Boo.
Make him do it.
I will.
He's not paying attention.
Oh, I am
know.
paying attention. I'm actually.
I'm gonna cut his pinky off in a minute.
I'm quite impressed because, like I said, I'd just fudge it when I sew it together if it was
Watch
off a
how
little
fun
bit.
this is. So off this goes. This is the selvage, right? We don't ever want to use selvage. Now I have a 12-inch ruler, so I can measure 12. But what if I didn't, right?
You can turn it sideways.
I can use this one to get my 12 inches. In fact, let's show it this way so you can see. I say I didn't have that handy. Make sure you get the one, Becky. I can go this way. Now, I know this is straight, right? So I'm lining up my ruler nice and straight on this cut edge. And then in my case, you could use a smaller ruler by now too, but I'm going to use my trusty skinny one.
And if you're watching at home, you'll notice
look.
at no point has she referenced the grid on the mat
Not
for
even
any
once.
of this.
Not once.
We don't care what the mat says.
And again, I'm spidering it to the end.
Beautiful.
They are beautiful.
You need to come cut mine.
And you can do this for 18, 24. Does that help, Dee?
Does it make sense, Dee?
She's also had one more question. Can I cover it quick?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. And it was when she has a block and she has to fussy cut around it and it's wonky. Because that happens to us all the time.
That is,
Piano.
yeah, and that is a
I wanna get-
oftentimes a result of the printing.
Yes, but I have a tip. I have a tip for that. For instance, I cut this one out. Can we go overhead, please? I cut this one out, and it came out pretty square by the time I was done, but it wasn't square when I started. How do you make that happen? You have to use reference points on the fabric rather than trying to... Where's the fabric? Well, if I didn't bring the fabric, we're in trouble. Oh, here we go. Let me just show you what I mean by a reference point. And this is true no matter what size panel it is, or a stripe. Oh my gosh. Did you ever try and cut a stripe? Remember that El Camino quilt?
Yeah.
Right? Right? Those are hard to cut. But here's the tip. I'm just rough cutting this. This is not pressed at all, so you'll have to forgive me. But I think I can demonstrate the tip real quick. When you put your ruler on this, I'm just looking for a smaller ruler, but oh well, we'll use this one. I know I want my seam line to be right here, right along here, okay? So I want to cut this block 1/4 inch from there. I am not squaring this up at this point. That's just asking for trouble. I guarantee you it won't. I am putting my 1/4 inch mark on my ruler along that gray border line, like that. And this one case lines up pretty good. I don't know if you can catch it, but in the middle, it doesn't quite line up. So if I were to cut this, it would be a little off in the middle. Can you see, Brent?
Yes.
This is why it's called fussy cutting. I am now pulling the fabric. I am letting the pressure off my ruler in the middle and pulling the fabric to make sure I am 1/4 inch away. I forced it. I don't care about any of the other 3 sides right now. Oh, I closed it instead of opening it.
So it
Told
was
you I
laying
was-
there open,
Yeah, I told you. I was
breaking
bad
all
at
the
that.
laws.
Okay, so now again, I'm going on this side. I'm not worrying about this side at all. I'm worrying about this 1/4 inch. And can you see how it doesn't match again in the middle?
Yep.
It's got a bow, right? So I'm letting off pressure on my ruler and I'm forcing it to behave. See? Now, whoops,
Put it a little bit more over here because your head's in the way.
on my head. There we
You
go.
wouldn't get very far without it.
Oh, now I messed it all up. That's all right. We'll
But
get
now
it
your head's in
again.
the way again.
Well, I have to see.
Oh, there you go.
But now it's not lined up.
Oh, see, but yeah, now I can see you pulling the stuff. Yes.
Okay. I'm letting up the pressure where I need to let it up so that I can finesse. And you're thinking, how is this going to square? It's magic. Oop, head. And I'll show you how wonky it looks when you first do it. But this is how you're going to do those finicky stripes too. Now that side looks pretty good. A little bit off. This is fussy, so it's not supposed to be slice and dice. Dee was saying, she said one of them was, she just got so mad at it. Couldn't get it.
Now, can you use the same technique if you're trimming up the edge of a pieced border that you have to add another border to and you want to make sure everything's a 1/4 inch off your points?
Was it off because you sewed junkily?
Well, it's me you're talking to, so I mean, obviously.
So, well, you can attempt to do it, but my guess is something else will be wrong if you try to fix it that way. Usually, if their points aren't lining up, there's a problem.
Well, I'm not saying the
somewhere
points aren't
else.
lining up, but you have those edges just getting them ready to put your last border on after you.
Yeah,
put
yeah.
piecing?
You can, yeah, you could.
I
I
usually-
like to know mine are right, so I don't.
Well, I
have
usually
to
just
do
line
that,
up to the
but-
1/4 inches and start lopping, but I was.
Oh, yeah, no, use a reference point. Now let's get this 12-inch rule and you'll see how yucky it is. Let me put it underneath the ruler, Eddie, so you can see. I'm going to try and line this up so it's somewhat square. And you can see, well, actually, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. See that?
Yeah,
I mean,
fine.
right, 1/2 inch is a little off here, but
Yeah.
this one's not too bad. My tip was going to be, this is when you get out the vodka and spray
I was
it.
gonna say, get out the vodka and look at
Because
it sideways.
once we spray it, vodka it up. Once you spray it, now that's probably enough for this. You just love spraying the vodka. Now when I spray it, it's easier for me to square it up. And I like to use, if I have problem blocks, I'll break out this baby. And I'll use him to square up my panel, my little panel.
Oh, on your.
See, I can use the grids on that thing
Yep.
and kind of manhandle it into position.
And kind of pull it and prod it and make it look nice.
Make it look good.
What was it supposed to be at 8 1/4, or are you just?
I don't know. I just went a 1/4 inch away from the gray.
Well,
I have
then-
no idea. I just knew I wanted my seam line to be a 1/4 inch away from the gray. And I don't know if that's completely hot, but straight down. Meow. And that's it. That's it. Now you fussy cutted a panel piece that was crooked to begin with, and it won't be crooked anymore.
Well, I mean, I don't think I left it on there long enough.
This isn't on.
Oh, I guess that would help.
Was the surge protector not on? Oh, it wasn't on, Brent, the whole time.
Oh, well, I'm not gonna worry about
No,
it.
I wouldn't worry about it.
I
But
think
that's
everybody
how
gets
you
the
fix
idea.
it.
All
That's
right.
how you fix it.
Is that everything? Did you want
That's
to add
all
to
I.
it?
That's
all
all
you
I
got?
get right now.
Okay.
That's all I got.
It works out good. It's a little past 7. We detained 13 people for an hour.
Woo!
Woo! Actually, it's probably like 10 though, because are you on like 3 different devices?
What does a wool mat smell like after the vodka spray?
Yeah.
It really doesn't have a smell to it. I think it. Do you think it has a smell to it?
No. Not any worse than any of the other stuff.
No,
you spray
and I
on it.
can tell you, Gene, I like doubling up my vodka. I was showing
One for the quilt and one
Brenda,
for me.
it comes out, the 2-to-1 recipe comes out, here's one I brought for an example, because I forgot to show everybody last week. Feel this. This is after 1 square of the 2-to-1.
Mm-hmm.
Brenda thought it was a little stiffer than Best Press.
Yeah,
I
I
thought
would-
it was very much like Best
Yeah, it's
Press.
very similar, yeah.
And I like it to be a little stiffer, so I added more vodka to that one. But it's not. But this is definitely usable at 2-to-1. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So yes,
And that's that.
it
You're
doesn't smell-
evaporating it all now. See,
Yeah.
I would tend to let it sit a little while. But that's okay.
Well,
That's
okay.
all right.
Well, we turned it on. Okay.
That's okay. Cool.
All right. Well, so I guess that's all we have for tonight.
What a mess I made.
That's all right. It was fun. So yes, if you have other ideas for shows, by all means, email us or leave a comment in the comment section.
Yes.
Like, subscribe, and share with your
Looking
friends.
for ideas. They say to me, "What are we doing this week?" And I go, I'll know by Sunday.
Yeah. If you ask me, I'll tell you 15 minutes before we turn the cameras on. But
It all depends on what my week looks like.
Yeah.
That's the truth. Who I hear from, what I've been working on.
yeah, see, I just got invited for ironing and not pressing.
I told you to just put it down.
I know. But you're talking to the guy that still thinks there's not a difference, and I know you're going to argue with me on that.
Yeah, I will.
I don't know how.
That's right.
Some people think because I stand behind the counter, I know what I'm talking about.
Some of the stuff you know.
Some of the stuff.
Okay.
I'm learning, though. You're teaching me a lot. Anyway,
I will not change this leopard spot.
well, thank you all for watching. It's been fun. Like I said, like, subscribe, and share, and all that stuff. We'll be here again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And like I said, if you have any ideas, shoot them our way. We'll be happy to use them. And
Well, I'll be the judge of that.
okay, but you know. But anyway, so on and be excellent to each other.
You can use them if it's you, okay?